You're probably wondering what could top the excitement of that Werder Bremen-Borussia Mönchengladbach semifinal. Actually, I don't know of much that could exceed that match. On May 2nd, 1984, the next day, Schalke 04 hosted Bayern München in Gelsenkirchen for the second semifinal. Schalke were in the middle of their yo-yo years, where they found themselves caught between the Bundesliga and the Zweite Bundesliga. This goal by Michael Schumacher of Bayer Uerdingen in Gelsenkirchen sealed Schalke's relegation fate in 1983. When people talk about this match, they forget about how underwhelming Schalke 04 were. They were in the middle of trying to be promoted, and they were up against Bayern München, the biggest of all possible opponents. It looked from the start like it wasn't going to be much of a contest. Bayern, however, weren't as dominant as you might think. They were in the middle of an extremely close Bundesliga title race, and they had barely beaten second division club FC Bochum 2-1 to make it to the semifinal. From what I can gather, the last time Schalke and Bayern met in the DFB-Pokal was in 1969. That's when this goal by Gerd Müller gave Bayern a 2-1 victory in the final. Well, I guess you could say that there was some history here and a little bit of a rivalry. It wasn't a huge rivalry, of course. More than anything, honestly, I think Schalke wanted to avoid being embarrassed. Surprisingly, Schalke mounted an attack right from the start, and something I doubt that anybody in the stadium was prepared to see. A little over 1 minute later, it was Karl-Heinz Rummenigge scoring for Bayern. And 10 minutes after that, it was Reinhold Mathi making it 2-0 for Bayern. You've got to believe that those watching on television at this point thought that the match was over. Well, I hope they didn't tune out, because it wasn't. Thomas Kruse responded with a goal for Schalke just a minute later. And then a mistake by Bayern in the back led to this goal by Olaf Thon. That's a name that you'll hear a few more times in this video. Incredibly, less than a minute after that, Michael Rummenigge scored for Bayern to make it 3-2. That made it 5 goals in 20 minutes of play. And then the two teams decided to play some defense. Schalke came close to responding here, but it wasn't quite enough. Schalke were close again here. You can tell also that it was raining like crazy. And that brings us to the end of the first half, 3-2 to Bayern. As you can see, the teams were basically bypassing the midfield. Olaf Thon had a chance here, but the tackle from the keeper was clean. And Bayern almost scored again just 5 minutes later. This one was off the post. Bayern's defense was anything but steady, as you can see here. Then Schalke tied it up at 3-3 with this goal from Olaf Thon. Schalke went on an all-out attack. Bayern was able to prevent a goal from scoring here. You can tell also that the rain was really pouring down. Bayern had a chance of their own briefly. But then Schalke pulled ahead 4-3 on this goal by Peter Stichler. That was scored in the 72nd minute. That gave Bayern something like 20 minutes to respond. And you guessed it, they responded. Schalke saw off this chance. The defense held here as well. And at this point, it looked like Schalke had the match under control. But then this came, a wonder goal by Michael Rummenigge, 4-4. That equalizer was scored in the 80th minute. They gave us 10 more minutes of madness. Players were sliding all over the place on the wet pitch. And all that rain and confusion led to some pretty scary looking collisions. This was the first real controversy of the match. Was this a foul? Well, they called it a foul. In the end, though, it turned into nothing. Bayern had one last chance at the end of regulation, but it also turned into nothing. Now this view gives you an idea of just how much rain and fog there was. And so we went to extra time for the second straight match. Bayern missed a huge chance here due to the surface. And this really should have been a goal for Schalke. Schalke were lucky, in fact, that this wasn't a goal. It was yet another good save. And both teams were slipping and sliding once again. Schalke had another huge chance, but they couldn't convert. And that led to the end of the first extra time period. Now, back in those days in Germany, a semi-final draw meant a replay, not penalty kicks. Some of us prefer it that way. Those were the good old days, in my opinion. Schalke had yet another chance here, but it didn't quite work out. They were close once again. This header just missed. But then came this crazy mistake. It was Dieter Hönes who took advantage of the mistake to score, 5-4 Bayern. But Schalke came right back. It took a great defensive play by Schalke to prevent this from getting out of hand. Bayern were looking for a sixth. And then here was the equalizer, Bernard Dietz, after a bizarre corner. But then, 1 minute later, it was Hönes again who was onside to give Schalke another nightmare. And now Bayern were looking at the clock. Now at this point, the announcer says that 118 minutes have been played. There should be 2 more minutes and maybe a minute of added time. After all, there weren't very many stoppages aside from the 3 goals. Bayern knocked away what looked like Schalke's last attack. Here was another good save. This is where we hit the 120-minute mark. Schalke had bad luck here. And then came a whistle, but for a free kick, not the final whistle. This is after a full minute of added time had already been played. Nothing happened except for another foul. And then it came, the equalizer, and once again it was Olaf Thon, this time with his hat trick and the most dramatic equalizer I've ever seen. The final whistle came without so much as a kickoff, and this classic ended tied 6-6. Now, it wouldn't be fair to you guys if I just left you hanging here, would it? So let's go take a look at the replay as well that was played on May 9th in München. In the replay, Bayern had an early attack but hit the post. And this was one pass too many for Schalke. The clubs looked a little tired here, even though it had been a week. It took over a half hour before the first full game from Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. Bayern came close to scoring again. However, Schalke were resilient and didn't give up. It was a great free kick by Hönes that put Bayern up 2-0 right before halftime. And that was the score at the half, Bayern 2, Schalke 0. At the start of the second half, Schalke scored yet another fluke goal through Michael Jakobs to make it 2-1. And so the match continued, a tense 1-goal match. Bayern made a mistake by giving up a foul in this position. Schalke came close to scoring. Then out of desperation, Bayern attacked. And they kept attacking. Schalke had a chance here, but there wasn't any shot at the end of it. And then, in the 72nd minute, Michael Opitz broke through, 2-2. By this time, the two teams had played over 200 minutes of football and yet were still tied. It's really amazing when you think about it. And there's your confirmation, 2-2. Schalke kept their foot on the gas pedal. Bayern were looking sloppy in defense.
Ton. Der Bayern Augenthaler, der nächste ist Bayer Lorzer. Ja, dieser Pass, der ist wohl zu steil.
This one was close as well.
Er hat alles versucht, was ein Trainer möglich machen kann. Torüber!
The final minutes, this match, which had been so conservative, really opened up.
Bernd Martin. Ja,
This was tantalizingly close for Schalke.
das ist der kleine Olaf Thon und
And seconds later, Bayern had this chance.
Dürrenberger.
In the end, though, it was Karl-Heinz Rummenigge again, making it 3-2 with only 10 minutes left. Time was of the essence. Schalke were close, but not close enough. And the teams kept trading chances. Schalke had a chance, but missed the header.
Torüber. Kruse hat da nicht reagiert. Und gute Simon.
And this looked like a disaster for Schalke.
Freie Bahn für Kalle Haie. Junghans aus dem Tor verkürzt geschickte.
Bayern were pretty clearly the stronger side by this point.
Uli Hoeneß.
Schalke were forced into making save after save.
Oben liegt im Abseits. Und wieder Walter Junghans.
There was this last gasp at the end, of course, but nothing came of it.
Ich glaube, diesmal da schaffen es.
And there was your final whistle.
Der FC Bayern München gewinnt die Wiederholung des Pokalhalbfinals gegen.
That was the end of a semifinal that nobody would ever forget. All right, well, I'm not sure which match you think is better. Personally, I actually prefer the Bremen-Gladbach match with the tear gas and all of that, but I will say that both of the matches were absolutely filled with drama. Anyway, let me know what you think down below.